Okay, we're live. I'm going to share my screen now. Do you see the chart?
I do.
Great. Angela, when's your birthday?
2780. Well, sorry, the 7th of February, 1987,
And time?
6:30 a.m.
Place.
Delta, Utah.
Okay. You said you're Aquarius rising, but I have you as Capricorn rising.
Oh, really?
You have the sun in Aquarius.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. See, I told you I'm not familiar with my chart very well.
Okay. All right, let me just double check. 6:30 in the morning, 7th of February, 1987, Delta, Utah.
Correct.
Okay, you're a Capricorn rising.
Interesting. Okay.
We will explore some of that, I'm sure. Okay, so Angela, I always start with the same question, which is, can you tell me a bit about what's happening in your life currently?
Currently, we'll just let out. I have 4 kids, ages 6 to 10, well, almost 10, and I have. I run my own business. I'm a massage therapist and mentor. I help people heal the energy between their body and their spirit to empower their soul. And I am working on gaining more of an online presence rather than um, the in person. So I've had the thought that I might not be in this area for permanently. So I'm like, well, I would really like to create an income that's not designated by location. So I've been working a little bit on that, and I'm happily married. We've been married for 18 years. Um,
Hmm.
it's been, I think, part of the reason why I've had the thought that location is going to change, and I don't know when. Like it could be in the next 5 years. It could be, you know, my husband's job had the suggestion that he might move out of state last year, and then that's um, been delayed. So, but I don't know. I don't feel like I have a lot of close friends in this area, and I miss that. So,
Uh-huh. Okay, let's start with the massage therapy. So I guess that's something you do in person
of course,
most. Okay. Because you said you also wanted to do it online. So that tells me there's another aspect of it that
the
doesn't have to.
mentoring part of it. So, um, I do something called body mapping. Um, it's a modality created by Laurel Houston. Um, Everything about you, your proportions, your symmetry, tells me something about you. So you were created by a divine creator. Similarly to, we have these frequencies that the stars um, are vibrating at our birth that help us determine our life path, our experience, and they actually create the structure and the form that we are as a human being. So the shape of your nose tells me something about you. Everything that you are is defined in a way that reminds you of your gifts, your talents, because you were created to succeed. And so that's the component that I take online, and I help you understand whether it's aches and pains in your body. Um, there's a message in your body that your spirit is trying to communicate because you've ignored it for so long. It's actually become physical.
Okay. It's very interesting, first of all. Um, Immediately the Capricorn is coming up for me very strong in everything you're describing. Because Capricorn is an earth sign, so it's about the way that earth builds things, shapes people, illness, disease, bones, bodies, everything. And therefore, I'm feeling your Venus in Capricorn, especially because you have this natural affinity for the physical, for the body, for the structure, for the shape of things. And the fact that she's sitting in your 11th house, but on the cusp of the 12th, that also intrigues me very much because the 11th is working with people in the public. Right. So obviously your work teaching others how to connect with their body. But the 12th house where Venus is about to enter is more like the spiritual, intangible realms, like things that are happening that people can't really put words to. And the other part for me is like, I'll even take out the moon for now. You can see the Venus in your chart is connected with Mercury in Pisces by sextile. So as soon as you started telling me about the body mapping and kind of like the spiritual component behind the way that the body is shaped, what I hear also is kind of like past life karma or things like that. So the way, because some massage therapists, right, you go and they massage you and it's finished. But for you, there's this other component um, that is very metaphysical. And therefore, I feel Mercury and Pisces connection with Venus, where the information is coming in not just at the physical level, but also at the spiritual, kind of astral, what I'm going to call it, level. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
Okay. When you see it that way, do you connect with that, or is it kind of still blurry?
When you speak it, I'm more of an audio learner, so the chart means very little to me, but the words connect.
Okay. Interesting. Very good. Okay. And now you say things are changing and you'd like to do more online. But are you doing anything or not yet?
Oh, I'm working on systems. So I actually have 3 different programs that I've already recorded. I'm putting them onto my website. I have a couple people that I mentor online, but it's not been a consistent format. So it's
When did you start putting these? Can you just give me a little more information on that?
when did I start putting them online?
Well, what are you putting online, first of all?
So, and that's part of the confusion is I don't have a direct. Um, okay, so I have my home alignment program, which I created because I was thrown into chaos. That was about, hold on, probably 7 years ago. I had someone, she called us up and said, I'm in an abusive relationship. I need help. And she came, we went up, drove 4 hours to pick her up, bring her back, her and her son. And I have never had so much chaos in my life. To say that she was dealing with demons would have been an understatement. I would wake up um, at 4 o'clock in the morning and just walk because whew, I couldn't even be in my own home because she brought so much pain with her. And in my effort to help her feel at peace and help her feel loved, I had sacrificed my own. And it took me about 2 weeks to realize what was going on. I thought it was, oh, well, it's just, having another I had a 2-year-old at the time. And I was like, well, it's just, having another 2-year-olds and, mom is upset and crazy. Um, and then finally being like, okay, I'm done. And so um, I started taking it to God. I said, God, I have to have more peace in my home. And so as I was walking, I started doing um, energy work, but in connection with very specifically towards aligning my home to peace under a structure that is, um, I would call it Christian led. And I know this is the part I told you I'm a little bit of a nuance when it comes to energy work and Christianity because a lot of people will say, "Oh, don't do it," but I feel like it actually draws me closer to God. So I would take it and I say, "Okay, God, going through the chakra system. I need more safety in my life. What is keeping me from finding safety?" And I looked at the homes or the spaces in my home that reflected space safety to me. I said, okay, So my root chakra is actually reflected in my storage spaces in my pantry, because they're the things that provide safety in a storm. They provide resources. And so I went and I aligned that. I did it physically. I put, I went through, wiped everything out. With the intention that I was specifically creating safety. And then I went on to creation. Well, what rooms in my home help me create actively? Well, the toy room, the spaces where I would cook, so my kitchen. And I went through and aligned with all this, but also with an eye of, okay, how can I do this spiritually, not just physically? And so I have that program. I have another. I don't know if you're familiar. I don't know your religious affiliations or anything, but in the Christian world, there's something called the armor of God. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the scripture will tell you to go forth having your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. And it goes through every piece of armor. And I took that and actually adapted it to represent emotions. So if gospel defined is good news, I said, okay, so if I am going forth preparing for good news, then what emotion do I have? Well, I have hope. And when you have hope, so many people, I've read Holocaust books, I've read so many things, but what is the one thing that when you have it, you cannot be kept from your joy? And that's hope. And so I go through and I design each of these pieces to relate and actually give you a structure that supports you in your everyday life, from hope to relationships to actually being able to connect with your divine creator in a way that supports everything you are and everything you can be. Because I believe that our divine creator created us to succeed and gave us everything we need in order to do so. We just have to learn how to use the tools.
Okay, so that experience made you create, is it a program or?
So I have a couple different programs. One's the home alignment, where I teach you how to align your home. Another is how to align emotionally, spiritually. And so I have those online. And I don't tell anybody about them. And I don't know why.
How to allow, okay. There's so much coming up for me in your chart. I wonder if I can translate it, but I'm gonna do my best.
Fabulous. That's all we can do, right?
Right. Yes. Home alignment. That is so that is so poignant also, I guess, for everyone. Okay.
Home is where you lay your head, but it's also a reflection of who you are and who your family is.
Okay, for me, part of this story is really about this Mercury Moon Pluto triangle that you have in your chart. I'm going to take out the moon and bring it back in a moment and just focus on the Mercury Pluto. And the ninth house, where you have Pluto, is the house of belief. So whether that be Christianity or any other form of connection with God. And Pluto there indicates many things, but in this case, it's about the depth and severity to which you practice faith and religion. That is not like most people that I meet, especially with the connection to your Mercury and Pisces. Because Pisces is the sign of things that don't have like a direct logic, but it's more like spirituality, wisdom, understanding, peace, hope. All of these words that are not like analytic or don't have specific numbers attached to them. That's something that belongs to the realm of Pisces for this case, right? So that you have this Mercury Pluto trine for me, is giving me the shape of how you're speaking to me, right? I see that immediately most of your language, like the way you approach the world, is through your faith. It is through Christianity. It is through the tenets that you've been studying, that you practice.
Mhm.
So then if I bring in the moon, because she's connected with all of them, the moon has to do with your home, also that she's sitting in the fourth house. And so there I feel like the home alignment, and also that she sits in Gemini. It's about educating, talking to people, putting out the message, making the video, because that's what Gemini does. Geminis can be a teacher, but it's more about a messenger, someone who's talking to you. And aside from that, this is kind of not about the home alignment. Um, it's about having 4 kids, because immediately I hear, okay, there's a lot of activity, a lot of chit chat. Yeah, things happening all the time.
Mhm.
Those are the first couple things that come up for me. There's other things, but I just try to keep it very simple. Okay. Did that kind of make sense to you as you heard it reflected?
I'm really curious what you would say if I told you I'm the oldest of 12 kids.
Interesting. Okay. The oldest.
Mhm.
Okay. Can you say more about that? What was your role therefore?
Well, I was very much the second mother. Um, my brother was actually born with a heart defect. He was born when I was 5 years old. My grandparents lived next door, but I was in charge of my 3 younger sisters while my mom was at the hospital taking care of my brother. And that just kind of cascaded into me making sure that the house was clean. Um, I remember um, going next door and having grandma teach me how to make meals um, at the age of 6. And part of it was the connection and like um, well, I guess she didn't really teach me how to make a lot of meals, but that was something I did for fun because it also aligned with my unexpressed duties. Um, so yeah, very much the responsible one, I guess.
Mhm. Okay. This is bringing me to a different part of your chart altogether. So, how do I even, okay. Capricorn that you have rising is dealing with practical affairs in the world, the things that need to get done, like the cooking, the cleaning, the child rearing, but it also has to do with the elderly. So being the eldest, for example, you can see that you have Capricorn rising at 26 degrees, which is one of the later degrees, right? So very near the end. So this also like that, now that you told me you're the eldest of 12, that is, my eyes immediately go there. And the Venus part in Capricorn, I wanted to bring up just briefly because that there was this close connection you had with grandma, right? Venus is when you get along well with someone. And in this case, just from the story you shared, right, the Capricorn, it's like, hey, grandma taught you many things. She was one of the people you could rely on. Now I'm going to take out Venus and talk about the other part of this. It actually begins with Mars that you have in your third house. And the third house is the house of siblings, but it's also the house of what is your environment around you day to day. And you have Mars in Aries in the third. I'm just going to take out the others for a moment. And first of all, Mars in Aries, obviously in his home sign, is about a boy or male energy. But Mars in Aries is also very active. There's almost no stopping. There's always noise. There's something more to do. It's highly productive, very energetic, to the point of burnout, and like just like nonstop movement, essentially, full on. And this is where I feel you having 12 siblings, first of all, because I can imagine the amount of action that is happening just around them. in
in
the
the
earlier part of your life. And more importantly, because Mars has to do with pain and war and um, disturbances. So this for me is your brother that had a condition. And then I feel the Saturn coming in because your mom was unavailable because clearly when he has a condition, he needs a lot of, and I would actually like to understand more about that if you want to share. So what exactly was the situation with him?
He was born with a hole in his heart, so um, he was delivered and he turned blue, and they didn't know what was going on. They had to actually ambulance him up to um, a well, primary children's hospital. It's a specific hospital for children, and he was there. Um, they stabilized him, and then they actually had to do open heart surgery, so they opened him up at 8 days old, um, and um, had to fix a hole in his heart. I think they had. I remember there being something else, but I was 5 years old at the time. We don't really talk about it. There were enough things after that. Um, he had at least 6 surgeries before I had graduated high school. Um,
Hmm.
he was always, yeah, 2 knee surgeries, another heart surgery. He went into tachycardic arrest, died on the table, brought him back. Um, so he's gone through a lot.
Was there particular commotion around him growing up for you, for the rest of the family?
I mean, other than, oh, Ben's got to go to the hospital again. I think it was part of life. Um, there was concern. There was, I don't know that I would say fear.
How old were you when the youngest was born?
18.
Hmm. And so your experience of growing up was like, can you just give us like a few sentences about what it's like to have 12 siblings as the eldest?
You're very responsible. Um, you carve out your own thing that's interesting. Um, actually, I I was naturally the responsible one. So even in high school, I was asked to be my choir president, and I was asked to be my drama president. I didn't run for office, but um, I was president of both of those my senior year. I was a Sterling Scholar. So the things that when I was able to focus outside of like the day to day, make sure that kids are where they're supposed to be. And I don't want to make it sound like my mom wasn't present because she was. But when you have 11 other kids running around, um, I was the one that knew where people were. So, hey, Angela, where's Hannah? Where's, you know, um, and so yeah, but I naturally assumed that role everywhere in my life.
Okay, so now we're talking about this three, and especially the sun. So you have the sun in Aquarius in the first house. The first house is like, let's say you, just to make it easy. Whereas Aquarius is a few things. One of them is the clan. And in your case, when there's, because typically when you think of a family, it's like 3 or 4 people, okay, whatever. When it gets to be 12 children, then you have kind of like a team. And for me, even though I don't know, I immediately like the dynamic changes a lot. It's a lot of people to manage. And so that you're the leader of the people for me is the sun in Aquarius because that's the Aquarius. It's whereas it's the 12 people that are on your team and you're responsible for them. Specifically because in your case, the sun is making a sextile to Saturn, which is the planet of accountability, responsibility, having to show up. Yeah, being the one that people look to, being the one to assume whatever is going to happen to everyone, you're going to be the one to deal with it.
Yeah.
And so this for me is also that you were nominated as president for your choir. Right, again, Sun Saturn. And what else did you say you were nominated for as president?
Speech and debate and drama. It was
Okay.
the whole thing.
Okay. Right. So then again, Sun Saturn, specifically that it's choir, that's the third house because the third house is the house of the voice. And you can see it's the same speech and debate, third house.
Yeah.
And also that you were doing debate, which is kind of warring, you know? So there's Mars
I
and
would do
Aries.
oration, but
Huh? You were?
I did oration, not the debates. So it's a 7 to 10 minute speech. Where I
Okay.
my point.
Do you do you see the Mars and Aries in that? A 7 to 10 minute monologue. You just okay. And that you end up being the like kind of the representative. There's the Sun in Aquarius, right? So connected with both Saturn and Mars. Hence why you so can you give an example of a few other places where you assume that role?
Um, everywhere in my life. I was the young women's leader at the age of 12, again at the age of 15, and again at the age of 17. They were about a year long for each of those. My family life, at work. So I had a part-time job at a bakery, and I, like within 6 months, I was working the shifts by myself. I was the youngest worker, um, and I was one of the most effective ones. So I would have it um, wrapped up, like you have your list of things that you have to get done by evening, and I was always ahead of schedule. That's why he liked me. Um,
Mm.
I could
Okay,
manage.
do you hear that? Mars and Aries being ahead of schedule, being very quick, Aries.
Mm,
And also think about it, working at the bakery. The bakery, there's the ovens running all the time, so it's extraordinary amounts of fire. Plus, when the bread gets baked, it's dry. So there again, you have the Mars and Aries. Yeah, and the Saturn that is with Mars, that you know what needs to be done, and you get through it very well, and you do it orderly, and therefore the authorities like you and respect you. Right? So there's the Sun, Saturn, Mars again and again. Can you
I
feel
will,
that pattern when we?
yes, but I will also say that I create my own pattern, and it's usually more efficient than what they tell me.
Okay. Do you hear the Mars and Aries in that?
Yes.
Because Aries is the individual, the independent. I'm gonna do it my way.
Mhm.
Okay. Now that I also know, because this is where we started, right? That you're I guess you're a churchgoer. I don't know if that's the right word. Can I say that?
You can say that.
Okay. So that to me feels like also in the church community, you're an organizer.
Yeah. I'm actually the activity director at the moment. So
So what does that mean?
that means I get to direct activities. So yesterday we had something called a linger longer. So like we had our church hour, and then we have an hour to just mix and mingle with everybody. I was in charge of making sure um, we had the um, we had like a little spread with whatever on it, and made sure everybody was fed, and we had donations because they don't give us a lot of money for it. Um, so organizing all of that and then making sure that they showed up with what they said they were going to show up with.
Okay, so again, the sun in Aquarius. Aquarius is to mingle with all the different people that are there, right? Aquarius is the community life. It's all the people. Saturn, you have in Sagittarius in the 11th. The 11th is also the community. Sagittarius is God, the church. And Saturn is being responsible. So here, your sun, Saturn, I'm feeling like, okay, you're one of the main kind of lead people in the church. And the Mars comes in again because it's the activities, action, Mars. Yeah, and so organizing all the activities for the church. So there's again those three working together. Does that make sense to you?
It does. I don't know that I would consider myself a leader. Like I'm the one that gets to sit in the back, um, like while everybody else is doing their thing. Activities is like easy. So
Okay. You know, that's also making me think when you say that you're sitting in the back, that's the other kind of level of the Aquarius sun. Because imagine being a Leo. Leo's kind of like being at the center of attention, right? Whereas Aquarius is more the organizer, your focus is on all the people and making sure they just come together. And that's kind of your role, more like.
mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, like I want
Okay.
everybody to come together. I don't care if like half the time I'm in the kitchen making sure that things are out, and I kind of prefer it that way.
Hmm. Okay, so you're always kind of active. That's also what I'm hearing.
Yeah. If I
Okay.
were really being authentic right now, I'd probably be um, doing something while we were talking. But
Oh, interesting.
yeah, like I'm in the middle of doing a bathroom remodel, and I'm like, huh, I wonder if I could paint while he's talking, but that didn't feel respectful, so I'm sitting here.
That is so interesting.
How so?
Well, just think about it again. It's like your Mars. Um that you have to keep doing things and that you don't stop moving.
Oh, but I do. I just choose very specifically when I do. One of my favorite things, I'll go on a hike and I'll sit at the bottom of a waterfall for an hour or two because that's where I rest.
Okay. Now I'm feeling your Venus Mercury coming up again. Right?
Mhm.
Because when you're in a hike, this is already outside of the church. I mean, you can go with the church, but now we're talking about nature specifically, right? Around the trees in the natural world. So like having that connection to the outdoors very much comes up with the Venus in Capricorn. And then again, she's connected to your Mercury in Pisces. So sitting at the bottom of the waterfall and just enjoying the nature around. Right? Is it like that?
Yeah. Yep. And I do want to sit. I actually don't like hiking with my kids because they want to climb over all the rocks and things. I'm like, no, I just want to sit. We've already hiked.
Do you live near your big family?
Not really. We're actually kind of scattered all over the state. I had one sister, she just moved about 20 minutes away from me back in November. So we see each other more. But the rest of them, a couple times a year, usually. I had Marco Polo. It's a online video chat. Um, we'll do that a little bit.
Hmm. So you have to travel. If you're going to see any of them, you have to make like a concerted effort to go.
Yes.
That feels relevant actually, that you do occasionally take trips and you have to like really prepare the family and it's kind of a big event. Or maybe also do like family reunions somewhere all together. Does that happen?
Yeah, we do. So I did not go last year because my kids were sick, but we do a Thanksgiving Christmas reunion, and then we do Grandma Day. So a few times a year, Grandma Day where everybody meets. My mom is so funny. She says, "I want to do Grandma Day, and I want to spend all this time with my grandkids, but they're all too young, so you will all be present while I do so." So we are.
That's funny. Okay. Hmm.
I actually, my siblings did not start having kids until after I was done having mine.
So
So,
there's more, so the family's growing and growing.
oh yes. In fact, I've had two new nephews in the last month.
Is that new?
Is that new? Did
Yeah,
I,
like, is it unusual did they just start having kids and it's like there's this like explosion of pregnancies and children, or is it kind of like a continuous stream?
I would say that it's more new that they're so I have, let's see, there are 24 grandchildren. No, 26 now. And so over the last 10 years, we've started that's that's where the other 22 have happened in the last 10 years. So it's
22.
22 grandkids in 10 years.
Okay. It's hard for me to wrap my mind around. So you really are kind of a so the is and do they all are they all under the Nussbaum family? No, because it's your birth family.
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh-huh. So you guys are kind of like you really are like a clan. And I mean that like like because a big family at that point you can't really be that close. It becomes something else, at least in my mind. I don't know.
No, I agree. I feel like, um, yeah, growing up, yeah, I think my role as a secondary parent, which my mom would be so offended if she heard me say that, um, it impacted my relationship with my siblings. So I'm only now getting to a point where I feel like this sister that moved 20 minutes away from me, we're actually friends. Um,
Hmm.
but the others, I mean, we talk, we love each other. Um, and they're starting, I think now that they're starting to have kids, they start to understand a little bit more about me so that they're not like, oh, Angela's just telling us to do jobs or Angela's keeping us from playing with
Hmm.
friends because we haven't this or that. Like they didn't have an understanding of the command structure and I didn't actually have any authority per se. So it just felt like I was being the overbearing sister.
Hmm. Okay. There again, I feel the Sun, Mars, Saturn, because Mars, Saturn is the one to say, no, we can't do that now. No, you have to get this done first. No, we're going there at the moment. No, you can't go out because you didn't finish this. So I feel that you were applying the law, whether you wanted to or not, but you just ended up with
Well, I
the
had to.
responsibility for all the yeah for the clan, and I guess that continues now kind of in a different form but similarly. Like I feel you, for example, if it's going to be the Thanksgiving, you're kind of organizing, getting in touch with everyone, making sure they know what it's going to be.
I gave that up. I will not, absolutely will not plan family reunions.
Okay. Okay, so you tried and it was a big deal, right?
um, well, right after I was married, I was like, hey, if we're gonna start doing um like we're going out on our own, do we want to kind of make a pattern? And mom was like, well, everybody's pretty much here. I said, okay. And so it took until my third sister went out on her own and she started planning them, and more power to her. But I'm not,
Uh-huh.
actually, there's a little bit of anger there. Um, I am not going to waste my time trying to do something that feels distant to them.
That feels distant.
Oh, it's important to you, but it's not important to us. So it's not that big of a deal.
Uh-huh. Oh. Mm-hmm. The thankless work, the thankless hard work.
Yeah, I've done enough of it.
Right. Okay. Uh-huh. So what is your focus on nowadays? Maybe not even just in the family unit.
What is my focus on?
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of focus on self-development. Um, Are you familiar with the term empath?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. So I realized I was an empath. Well, didn't have the words for it when I was 5 years old. And after a few years, I remember my mom making the comment that, oh, Angela and Rachel are great, but Lisa really gets me. After I had gone through and energetically reset the entire tone of our home, I had, and I, again, I didn't have words for it, but I went through and I had cleared as a 10-year-old. Like I can look back on it now and think, wow, how did I even know intuitively how to do that? But I cleared the pain and the angst and the overwhelm, and I had cleared like the weight of that was no longer needed for Ben's surgeries and things like things that were no longer relevant. I went through and I cleared the whole house, and I cleared my family, and because I needed that emotional reset, like I understood that I needed it to be lighter in my home. And she says, "But Lisa just gets me," and I thought, "Screw you. You have no understanding of how much I get you." And so I turned it off. And then it took me going through a relationship. I was engaged at like 19, 20. I was 19. I was engaged at 19. And then I realized that it was a really bad idea to get married to someone just because it made them happy, even though I felt
Mm.
sick. And so called it off and then um, kind of went on this whole journey of like, what do I want in life? And like starting to recognize my empathic gifts again, and how much they actually were supporting me. I found my husband, love of my life, got married. We've been together for 18 years. Um, and I continue to just develop those gifts and talents that help me find more peace, more joy for myself and the ones that I care about. And then I'm actually expanding that with clients and helping them um, heal and expand into their own joy.
You know, there's one thing I want to point out. It's about the home alignment, um, which is one of your insights. And you know, you brought me to that event that was 7 years ago. The transits were interesting, but I decided to leave them out just for the sake of brevity. And then you took me right to that event where your home was under a big disturbance. And then you took me back to your childhood and how you had 12 siblings. And so I see how your whole life you were actually preparing for that home alignment. It's what you've always been doing.
Yeah,
And
actually.
so I saw that same pattern in that traumatic event 7 years ago as exactly what you had gone through in a very different shape as a kid.
Yeah, you're right. Interesting.
Hmm. Okay, there's another part that comes through. It's actually just about where your Jupiter is placed in the second house, Pisces. The second house is about things that are very valuable to us. They're worth a lot. We would give, and it's what we also have to offer in a way. And Jupiter in Pisces is like faith, God, spirituality, the metaphysical, connection with like kind of your astral body and your soul and your spirit, but it's not only operating on the physical plane.
No, because our body and our spirit constitute our soul. We cannot fully embody our soul without a physical and a spiritual form.
Okay, when you say that, that makes me think about Jupiter together with Mars in your chart, where there's the part of you that knows about what constitutes our full self, and then the Mars in the third house feels like, well, that's the message you have, and you give it very, very much. I feel like you're not shy at all to share with people what you think about. And also, it's very important for you. Like you have to do it almost like a calling. Yeah, that's what comes up.
Yeah, because if you understand it, you heal. And imagine a world where we walked around healed instead of hurt.
Hmm. Okay, that's kind of beyond the just the massage therapist kind of.
Hmm.
It's more like the massage therapist fits into that larger bucket or something, is how I'm seeing it.
Yeah, that's,
Okay.
I've expanded, well, and I've realized, I mean, I've been a massage therapist for over 10 years, and people come to me not because I'm good at massage. I mean, I am, and they do, but they get on the table and they immediately start asking me questions. Well,
Hmm.
what does that mean? So my
Hmm.
shoulders hurt. Okay, well, what responsibilities are you shouldering that are not yours? Oh, crap. Yeah. Or my lower back hurts. Okay, well, how are your relationships? Do you feel like you're actually fulfilling your mission and your purpose?
Hmm.
Um, your neck hurts. Well, whose perception are you trying to support that doesn't actually feel aligned with you, doesn't feel authentic to who you are? And I could go on, but yeah, it's not about. I mean, I love working with people who have chronic pain because it goes away because they finally understand the message that the spirit is trying to tell them. And then they go out and it's not just a lack of pain, it's, oh my goodness, I suddenly have so much sovereignty, so much authority in my life to actually go and do the thing. And it changes everything. It changes who they are in the sense that they're no longer catering to someone else's whim. It changes how they show up in the world because they're no longer frightened of their own authority. There's a poem or a no, not a poem. Our Deepest Fear. Have you heard of it? Actually, I have
Mm-mm.
a wall. Um, let me see if I can read it from here. It's by Marianne Williamson. It says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, or fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is um, nothing enlightened about shrinking so other people won't um, feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We are born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people to do the same, permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
Hmm. I guess you work with many such poems, parables, hymns.
I have a lot of stories, yes.
Yeah.
There's
Hmm.
myself.
Okay, and you're also very curious. You ask a lot of questions. You kind of know how to navigate. Like the impressions you get from people, that's right. It's like clairvoyant. That's what comes up.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yep.
And also mirror people very well.
Yes.
Okay, I'm feeling something soothing as well. Maybe like singing or some kind of very soft music.
My clients tell me that when I sing, they know it's going to be good. So yes, I do sing during sessions.
And it does feel like pulling information from just different places. Like they're telling you something, but you're picking up something different. So there's these streams, and you're just toot, 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 toot.
Yeah, it's fun. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I actually had a conversation. It wasn't supposed to be a session with my sister, and she was saying something. I said, "Is that true?" She's like, "Well, yeah, because da, 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 da." I said, "Uh-huh." And she pauses, and she's like, "Oh, they're supposed to be easier, not harder." And then she,
Mm,
and that happens a lot.
yeah, I see you having conversations oftentimes with people, deep, different, exploratory, meandering, spiritual, asking questions, sharing maybe a story that you remember that is very relevant for what they're going through to give them a sense of peace and ease and healing and calm and relaxation.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah. I had one client tell me that he's like, "Well, you're never quiet when we do massage." I said, "Did you want me to be?" No. I said, "Okay, I didn't think so."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. That makes me think about Mars again, being loud,
Being loud.
talking loudly, moving quickly, being quick to action, being quick to if there's a problem, which I think many people come to you when they kind of don't know what to do, and you know the solution. And so you just tell them, okay, ta, 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 ta.
Yeah, just do this.
It feels like you're really calling people to action. It's not just being nice, it's also pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, because if I were truly nice, quote unquote, um, nothing would get done because they would sit in this state of, oh, she sees me and I'm okay exactly where I am. And that's bullshit.
Hmm.
If you were okay exactly where you are, you wouldn't have come and talked to me.
I can see you being sometimes also commanding. Like you don't really have patience for people to it's like, no, just let's do it like this and that's it. Moving on.
Um, yeah, that is the case sometimes. Like I've done enough training that I really try to make sure that they say their piece. Um, and I will ask them, okay, you know, is that all? Is that there's an art to leading them to understanding. So, okay, um, your hips hurt and you feel like um, your son is estranged, and that's the only thing you want in life is to have a good relationship with your son. But is that really your purpose? Or is your purpose to have raised someone who's capable of making his own decisions? And when the time is right, he'll come back.
Mm,
I apologize. I think my cleaning lady is here early. Let me message her really quick.
sure.
Um,
That seems like a theme as well. Things happening like early, before they were supposed to, on accident, quickly.
sometimes but not always when I want them to. Like the things that I'm like, okay, we could do this. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
And then like, yep, that was her.
I'm also feeling like this is coming up for me a lot. It's I don't know if it's the car or a truck or a bus, but it's something in it's move and there's a lot of like it's like yeah, driving around places.
I hate driving.
Do you walk? Maybe you walk a lot of, but it feels you're just outside kind of going to many different places every day. And I was also feeling like travel, like traveling to another state, traveling to another country, maybe going on a mission trip that's coming up.
Hmm. Not anytime soon. I mean, we have a family vacation planned that'll be almost a 5-hour drive.
Okay.
And
Mhm.
um, I don't know.
Oh, I also feel schooling, big time education, like being a school teacher or building a school or like making some kind of educational programs, something.
I mean, I think that's where my programs come into play is helping people understand like I guess the bridge between the ethereal and divine and the physical realm because everything is meant to support. Like if we talk about body, well guess what? You were created spiritually before you were created physically. There had to be a vibrational structure in before it could become solid. Um, our mental world creates our outer world. Our spiritual world creates our mental. Like everything builds on each other, and I don't think people understand how essential it is to build in the ethereal before they build in the physical.
Mm, hmm. Interesting. This is making me think because I'm just thinking about the transits now.
Mm.
You're going to be in the process of building something, but this year you're kind of more you see something is possible. You see that there's something you want to do, but you're still kind of gathering the pieces and figuring out how. But you're putting out something new. I think it's like part of the classes and whatever like library you're building online. Definitely, I feel your situation, your husband's situation there as well, because you said that maybe he had to change jobs and move, but for now that's been stalled. But I feel like that's coming next year. All of that.
Interesting. Yeah, it's the same company, but they're looking at moving because he works in construction.
Uh-huh.
So this has been, we've actually lived in this home for 10 years. That's the longest we've lived anywhere by a long shot.
Yes. Okay.
So
So there's another move coming.
I think so.
I think so too. I think it's going to happen next year.
Interesting.
Is that possible?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
possible. It'll be,
It feels laborious also to me. It feels very like getting a lot of things to get. Maybe you have like a big house where there's just many things to take care of.
well, I have 4 kids. I
Yeah.
don't think I have that big of a house. I mean, 2,300 square feet, but um,
Mhm. What kind of construction does he work in?
water treatment, actually.
Water treatment. So they build what, like facilities or
Yeah, so they're in charge of purifying water. So they just did a huge one. It was I think it was like $2 billion.
2 billion?
2 billion.
And
Um,
what is is he like a contractor?
so I think his job title is project engineer. Um,
Ooh, okay.
and so he,
I
I don't know,
see.
he did a lot of the project manager stuff too. They just kind of share whatever needs to be done.
Okay, so he has to do like these okay, I get it. And then they have to get the contracts, and they have to build the plan, and then they have to, they have to scout the location, how exactly it's going to be. Okay, I'm seeing it now. Is that right?
Location was already designated. They were just upgrading another plant on this
Wow.
particular one. And so going from an outdated system, if you knew what your water was, you might not drink it.
Okay, it's the same. It's the Sun, Mars, Saturn. Because your chart is not just about you. It's about everyone that's in your life fits into your chart. Everything that you witness, everything that you're aware of is happening here. So, like for example, the 11th house, the house of the public, and there's Saturn and Sagittarius there. And so raising a whole like facility, right? That's a long-term project. It's something that's an update. Sagittarius takes a lot of work, Saturn, and it's done for the benefit of the public, the 11th house. And if I remove Mars, even though I think that's very important, because when you're constructing something, obviously it's something new, Aries, and therefore it requires a lot of work and labor, Mars and Aries, and it's done in a big team. That will be the Sun in Aquarius, right? But if I take out the Sun and Mars and I put in Jupiter, you can see I have Jupiter in Pisces squaring Saturn. There's the water treatment. Right? Because Jupiter is like when you improve something, when you get to the higher level of something, when you really benefit somehow. So in your case, for example, it's you have this amazing talent with seeing what's happening on the ethereal realm and then being able to share that with people. So that's the Jupiter Saturn. But in your husband's case, it's the water treatment facilities. That one, I don't know, maybe that's a little complicated, but I immediately notice.
I think he could appreciate that, just being like, yeah. His whole, he wanted to do residential originally because it helped people get into homes. He had a childhood that made that very, very important. Then he came out here. He lived back east, and we hit the recession. And he's like, okay, what else can I do? And worked with a company who, again, was very much about community. They built a community center, and then they moved him, and he was doing campus housing for colleges and.
I see. Okay.
So,
Interesting.
but yeah, everything he has an eye towards. Okay, how's it actually benefiting everyone? So that makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Let's stop there for today then.
Okay. Well, that was fun.
As soon as I saw you and I see your background, and I was like, Pisces. People have different backgrounds, but that one is so, otherworldly.
I like it. Well, you got to see the tree though.
Gorgeous. There's the Capricorn. Okay.
Thank you.
What do you think, or kind of what are you left with? What did you learn? How?
Oh, lots of information.
I know.
I actually would love to have the recording and just review it so that I can, I feel like that was a fire hose. And I would love to kind of go over and review it and, I don't know, maybe schedule with you again down the road when I'm not doing my bathroom remodel that I started on Saturday. It was in the plans for a while.
Yeah, I already see that in the transits, but okay. The bathroom remodel. How long is that going to take you?
I say a week.
But realistically, you think?
Yeah, realistically, I think I can have it done in a week.
I believe you. With the Mars and Aries, I believe you.
I'm just redoing the countertop and I'm painting. I'm not redoing the tub and tile. So I'll have to
Is there going to be more blue?
Actually, no blue. I'm doing, it's a what is it called? It's like a blossom color. So it's actually, I don't even know what you'd call it. It's kind of a peach tone.
Ooh, okay.
But I wanted to kind of bring in the root energy and the sacral. And so, and it was the people who did it before, it was like an Indian sunset kind of thing. So it's kind of a burnt orange color.
Oh, interesting. I see the peach goes down to something much softer.
Mm-hmm. Which,
Oh yeah. I feel the energy of that is much less like critical and more like
yeah.
and I'm feeling your Mars and Aries again in the third, the burnt orange, right? Okay. I'm gonna stop recording and then you and I can just talk for another minute. So Angela and I are signing out. All right.